Start recording. There we go. Okay. The pink one is the one that you'll get to use for all of your quizzes and tests in Chem 12. Because the quizzes and tests that you write in Chem 12 are going to be the same level of difficulty and same style as the regular Chem 12. So if you're like, do we get scaled this year? No, you don't, because there's no need, because the tests aren't like massively harder. They're the same level of difficulty. Okay. I do actually, though, give everybody plus 3% to whatever you get at the end of term. And the reason for that is that I teach Chemistry 12 3% harder than the rest of the teachers in the province, or at least I did when we had statistics to back that. Okay, so we used to get statistics from the government back when we had government exams, and my class, proud to say, always beat the provincial average by like several percent, and we always did really well. So, but what I discovered is that like other schools in the province, maybe they would have an average, a school mark of 73%, and then their government exam mark was 70%, right? Whereas my mark and the government exam mark were right on par. So if my students were getting, 86% going in, they would get 86% on the exam, at least on average. So they matched very well. But the rest of the province was like teaching easier, apparently. So I just started giving everybody an extra 3%. I can't do it on the marks program easily, though. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your percent, whatever it says, and just add 3. Okay, so if you're at 88, that means you have 91. Yes? And it will appear on your report card at the end of term. I have to do it manually, so it won't show up until the very end of, until report cards. Okay? All right. So this is the one, the pink one is the one you'll use for all your tests in class, quizzes in class. The periodic table of elements. This other one is the AP periodic table of elements, and you might notice that there are no names on there, the blue one. It's okay though, because usually AP will if they want to give you something they're like, oh, rhodium chloride, they'll give you the formula for it. They'll be like RHCl3. Okay, so don't worry and be like, oh no, I won't know the names. I mean, C is for carbon and N is for nitrogen and the easy ones. If there's anything complicated, they will give it to you. Same thing with all the stuff in the pink booklet that is not in the blue book. So if you need common ions, it'll tell you the ions. If you need solubilities, it'll tell you the solubilities in the question.
Interruption, grade 9, last name beginning with the letter P to the letter Z. Please make your way to Gym 2 for photos. Grade 9, last name beginning with the letter P to the letter C. Please make your way to Gym 2 for photos.
In the rest of the blue one, we have the AP formula sheet. Okay, and so there's page 1 and page 2. I put it on the back and the front so that it was easy to get at the back page, because that's mainly the one that we will be using in grade 12. The front of that page was mainly the one that we used in grade 11, but you can use the whole thing. Okay. What else? You should also have this document that says what's on the test. So when you get to, in fact, why don't I pull up Teams right now so we can do a little quick see on that general channel. So in your general channel, most of you know this, but there's a few people who weren't in my class last year, so I will go through it quickly. In the general channel, which is what it opens to, if you go to Files, you will find everything you could possibly need. Okay? So ignore class materials. I don't put anything in there. But what's on the test? That's there. Okay, so if you lose this, doesn't matter, because it's right here. And you can say, oh, what's on the Unit 1 test? Well, Unit 1 is A, B, and C. And Hebden, Unit 1. Okay? So that would be all objectives A. So you would need to give examples of reactions proceeding at different rates, identify some properties that could be monitored. So if you're like, what's on the Unit 1 test? Literally, it lays it out for you here. Okay? And then Unit 2, and it gives you the Hebden reference as well. Is good? Okay, so you never have to ask what's on the test, but feel free to anyway if you want to. All right. General, there we go. While we're here, we might as well look at everything else. The data sheets that I just showed you, those are in the orange folder. Hebden, has anyone not ever used a Hebden? Everyone's used a Hebden book? Okay. Hebden Chemistry 12, we also have hard copies. So if anybody does want to sign out a physical copy of this, okay, they are back here. Just let me know, I'll grab you a book card and you can sign out a physical copy if you want to. Let's say it's like near the end of class or whatever, and you're like, oh, I want to work on some problems from Hebden because that's part of the homework. They are back here. Hebden 12 is on the left. Hebden 11 is on the right. Okay. And while we're back here, free blank paper. Okay, so if you ever need anything to write on, there it is. And all of our equipment is here. There's a little bit of equipment just down here. Everything should be labeled, so just look for it when you need it. And up here, we have this one I call VLB, Brown, LeMay, Burston. Those are the three main writers. But I also call it the Big Black Book because it is a big black book. It costs about $200. So if you want to sign one out, again, you can, but if you look at the purple folder up there, folder number 4, that says VLB, the whole thing is in there with the solutions manual in here. Okay, so up to you if you want a physical copy to sign up, but if you lose it, then you owe the school $200, even though they won't use that money to buy us a replacement book. Isn't that nice? Go figure, I don't know. And then we come to the blue file folder, which is review books. Don't tell anybody, because I could lose my job. Okay, so if any of you are like sociopaths and you want to destroy someone's life, that would be a really easy way to do it. Okay, but probably most of you are not sociopaths, so don't tell anybody. Okay, but the one I would recommend is the Cliff's Notes. I think it does a really good job of explaining the basics. Cracking the AP chemistry code, that is the Princeton Review. I think it's got a lot of good review questions and good review exams. And Barron's, I threw it in there because I have it. I feel like it goes on and on a little bit, and if you're going to go on and on, you might as well use the Big Black Book, which has color illustrations in it, but it's there if you want it. What else is useful in here? Hello, go back. Thank you. AP Chem review packages, I don't have anything in there yet. I will throw up stuff as we go. That's in addition to AP Classroom. Some of you who have taken an AP exam before have used AP Classroom before. If you haven't, AP Classroom, over in our channels, we have the join code. So you would go to AP Classroom and you would enter the join code 7J6ML4, and that's going to give you access to everything that you could possibly need for review and stuff. They put up all kinds of things. I have to go through and make sure I've actually made them available to your class. I haven't done that quite yet, but you probably don't need to review day 1. So I think we're solid on that. Okay. What else? Back to our files. Test review packages, that's going to be like for your regular tests. Okay, so right now there's only one in there, but I'll be populating that with everything else. So, and these questions that are the review, they are all either from old government exams, like old ones, or they are very similar to old government exam questions, which is good because your tests are also from old government exam questions. So you'll get used to the style, you'll get used to the pacing, okay? And so it'll be very familiar by the time you get to Unit 6 because they're all like that. And on the topic of tests, should anyone decide that they want to, I don't think this is very likely in an AP class, but should anyone decide that being away on test day is a good and fine thing, if you don't have a valid excuse, then I have first of all, I have 9 different versions of every Chem 12 test because the curriculum has not changed since 1987. I kid you not. It is the same as when I took it. Mr. Weinberg still uses the textbook that I used when I was in high school, okay? So I have 9 different versions of each test, plus I have a version that is 5% harder than average. I have a version that is 10% harder than average, and I have a version that is 15% harder than average. And you don't want to be the person who ends up with that 15% harder than average because it feels a lot more than 15% harder. How do I know it's 15% harder? Because all of those old government exam questions used to come with statistics, 75% of students got this one correct. 95% of students got this one correct. So if you're writing that 15% harder test, you are writing, you won't get anything above an 80% of students got this correct. Nothing. And there's a lot of 24 and 36 and there's some nasty ones. Now, what could cause you to get that horrible of a test thrown at you? Well, I made that 15% one because a couple of students once decided they went into my drawer and they found an answer. They found the exam because I photocopied it earlier and they found the exam. And even better, somebody narked on them. That was amazing. So I knew about it and I knew about it before they wrote the test. So everybody else sat down and wrote the regular test, and they sat down and wrote this brutal version. And I sat them because, sometimes I handing out little cards and sitting you just in different places during your test and whatever. Anyway, one of them I sat right there all by themselves, and one of them sat right there all by themselves. So they're right in front of me, and I watched them write the test, and I watched them, and their faces went pale. And they got this look in their eye and they started to sweat and they kept glancing at each other what the hell? What is happening? And then they had the gall to come in after school and say, oh, we noticed that we wrote a different version of the test from everybody else and that it was really a lot harder. And we're thinking maybe that wasn't fair. And I was like, oh, really? Maybe there's something else you'd like to talk to me about as well? And I was pretty much, kind of that bad of acting. But they went home and they had talked to their parents, and one of them.
Please interruption. We are now calling grade 8, last name beginning with A to the letter J. Please go to Gym 2 for your photos. Grade 8, last name A to the letter J. Please go to Gym 2. Thank you.
One of them came back and was really actually very distraught. He had talked with his parents and he felt super, super bad. And he was in tears and all this stuff. And I was like, okay. And so he, he still had to deal with the mark that he got on that test, which was much lower than, it would normally be. But the other guy, I don't think he was sorry. He said sorry. I didn't feel it. I was like, you're not sorry. So anyway, don't do that sort of nonsense. I don't think most of you would. I don't think so. Anyway. All right, so there's that. Let's see what else we got here. And then after we get through all of that stuff, then we're just into our regular units. So Unit 1, AP Extras, Unit 2, 3, 4, 5. I haven't got Unit 6 up here yet. Still working on that. Okay, and I should put up a thermochem one as well so I can toss in, you know, the revised answer key and things like that. Any questions? Anything I've missed over here? Class notes. Check and make sure this link works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I sometimes pick the right, there's two of them, and sometimes I pick the right one and sometimes I pick the wrong one. But it will take you to our class notes. So I'll like write on the class notes and you can write in your book. So this will be what's in your book and you'll see it's all annotated. It's got all the writing on it and you can click on that and you can be like, oh, I missed something when she was writing today. You can go in here and check what it says. Okay. If you want to see it bigger, there's a little bookshelf over on the left. You can click on the bookshelf and it will expand to show the whole thing. And you can unclick on the bookshelf again and it'll say, oh, I don't want to do kinetics. I want to do equilibrium. And you can go to that section. Okay, so that's kind of helpful. Oh, I don't want that. There we go. All right, there's homework. And you can see today's homework is already up there. It's read section 1.1 in reaction kinetics. That is our blue workbook. I should say blue. Is it blue or is it green? Reaction kinetics is blue, isn't it? No, it's green. Okay, so here, let me write that green workbook. Okay, there we go. Now, in that, there are questions. If there's a TV symbol, you're going to watch the video. There's generally a QR code there. If you see a book symbol, you're going to read in Hebden. So like I said, if anyone wants a hard copy, you can grab that. When you see a pencil, do the Hebden exercises, and the exercises all have answers at the back, or if you're using the online copy, it's in that Hebden file. And what we're doing in class today is we are doing, can I make it bigger? Not really. Microsoft, honest to God, you'd think they'd make it so you could expand things properly. Anyway, 1.7a, pages 49 to 56, is a POGIL activity. Now, for those of you who have not done a POGIL activity before, it stands for Process Oriented Guided Inquiry Learning. POGIL. Process-oriented guided inquiry learning. And what it is you are presented with information. You have to work through that information along with people in your group. Okay? And people in your group, let's see, I need something I can write on because I want to show you how to organize your group. Let's go to here. There we go. Oh, I don't want, oh, where'd my new notebooks go? Uh-oh. Oh, well, that's okay. I'll fix them up in a minute. Let's just go here. Okay, so you are going to work in a group of preferably 3 to 5. Okay? On the other hand, some people cannot manage to find a group of 5 and they have to be a group of 6. I don't care. I'm not going to fight you. If you have to be a group of 2, I don't care. I'm not going to fight you. Just don't do it on your own because you really need to bounce ideas off of someone, okay? If you're working in a group of 4, you're going to sit like this. So there will be moving of chairs. You can move desks if they're too crowded as well. So you'll sit like that. That's the most conducive to actual conversation. If you have a group of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one person can sit on the end, that also works. And then if you have 6, just cram yourselves in as best you can, somewhat resembling this. If you have 3, 1, 2, 3, okay. And things you need to do in a poker group. You need to talk. I know that's shocking, okay, but make sure that you talk with each other and make sure everybody in the group understands. I had a couple people in the last block asking me a question and the other people in their group understood it, but they didn't check in with them to make sure that everybody understood. So check in with your group to make sure everyone understands. If there's a concept you come across that you just don't know anything about, like let's say you have not done anything with logs yet in math and you get to this part in this activity and it's like, oh, what is this log with a 10? What on earth is this? Don't worry, you can call me over and I will help you out with that. Okay, if you've done them though, you can just ignore me. All right, make sure that everyone understands and you need to come to consensus on the answers. Okay, and then you all write down the same thing. All right, so we're going to be introducing spectrophotometry today. We will be talking about it again tomorrow. So don't worry if you don't feel like you completely understand it by the end of today. We will be going over it a little bit more tomorrow as well. So find yourself a group of between 3 to 5 or 6 or 2. And yeah, we're going to be doing pages. It's 1.7a in the blue book. And that was pages 49 to 56. And if you can't put yourself into yours, I'll help you. I know. Hey, well, no, I don't know. I don't remember what I'm We are now calling the rabies. Last name beginning with the letter K, to the letter O, to be included as 2 for your photos. Last